All right, so we're diving into some custom-built drones today, but
They're not your average kind of off-the-shelf flyers.
yeah.
Yeah, we're talking tiny champions.
Yeah.
This was a passion project that caught your eye, and I can definitely see why.
Yeah, they're fascinating. It's a really cool intersection of technology and art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's more than just building a drone that flies well. It's about crafting a story and experience.
Yeah, it's like each one is a piece of art that just happens to fly.
Exactly.
So for those who haven't geeked out over all the articles and stuff that we get to look at, let's break it down. What makes a tiny champion unique?
So at their core, they are FPV drones. So that stands for first-person view. Imagine flying as if you're sitting in the cockpit, seeing through the drone's camera. What sets them apart, though, is that incredible level of detail and craftsmanship.
Yeah, the 3D printed canopies, they really stand out. It's not just like a generic plastic shell that you get.
Right.
These are so intricately designed
Yeah.
and then hand-painted by the creator, Petermann.
And his background is really interesting, too, because he's a software engineer by day. So I think that kind of speaks to the precision and technical skill that he brings to these builds.
Totally.
But then you see this artistic side come alive in the way he approaches each drone.
Yeah.
Like it's a miniature art project.
It's like he's bridging the digital world with something tangible, something with a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the build, the articles you share, those build blogs, are not your average parts list.
No.
It's not just like, oh, I bought this, I bought this.
He goes into such detail about every decision, every component.
Yeah, he really does.
And that's where you start to see the depth of his commitment to quality and performance. He's not cutting corners.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, he consistently chooses TBS for video transmitters.
Mm-hmm.
They're known for their reliability in the FPV racing world.
Which makes sense because, I mean, those video feeds,
Oh, absolutely.
everything in FPV flying.
If that signal drops out, you're flying blind.
Yeah,
It's crucial.
reliability is key.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to motors, he tends toward diatone, and they're renowned for their power and responsiveness. And, you know, they might cost a bit more,
Sure.
but you get that precision control, which is crucial for the kind of flying that these drones are capable of.
Yeah, he's got this clear vision for what he wants.
Totally.
In terms of aesthetics, performance. He's choosing the best tools for the job, even down to the materials he uses for those canopies.
That's a really great point, actually. So initially, he was 3D printing them with PLA, which is a really common material, easy to work with, but it is a bit brittle.
Yeah.
Then he shifted to PTG, offered a little more durability for the bumps and crashes that are inevitable. But now he's really landed on nylon.
Okay, so what's the advantage of nylon over those?
So nylon is in a different league in terms of strength and impact resistance. It can flex and bend without breaking, which is really essential for something that's going to be zipping around at high speeds. It's clear that Peter is always looking for ways to refine his craft and push the boundaries of what these tiny champions can be.
And nowhere is that dedication more apparent than in the hand-painting process.
Yes.
Did you see the old friend drone? 7 layers of paint, hand-applied scratches to give it that weathered look. Like, wow.
He doesn't just paint them. He tells stories through those layers. It's like aging a fine wine. It adds a depth and richness that you just don't see in mass-produced drones.
It's like he's found a way to infuse, like, personality into these machines.
Yeah, and it's that personal touch that really elevates them.
Beyond just the technical.
Absolutely.
It's the stories.
It's the stories behind these creations that really captivate me, at least.
Yeah.
You know, each tiny champion seems to have this whole backstory.
Yeah, like a character in a graphic novel.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how Peter embeds personal meaning into each build. So, like, take Under Pressure, for instance. It was a gift for his friend Shane, who's a fellow drone racing enthusiast.
Oh, right. And he incorporated their old racing team's colors into the design.
It's this really subtle nod to their shared passion. Every time they look at that drone, they're reminded of this bond that they have.
Yeah, it's like a flying trophy.
It is.
Commemorating their camaraderie.
Yeah, and then you've got Bad Attitude, dedicated to the friend who helped him move during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And that one, for me, I think really highlights the depth of his gratitude. Like, we've all had those friends that show up when things get tough.
For sure.
This drone is a testament to that kind of unwavering support.
It's more than a thank you gift.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like this celebration of that can-do spirit
Exactly.
that gets us through tough times, you know.
Ah.
And then you've got Old Friend, which is interesting because it's not about this grand gesture, you know.
Yeah.
It's the 7 layers of paint the patina, and it reflects like the quiet strength of a long-standing friendship.
It's a beautiful representation of how, like those layers of paint, friendships build upon each other over time.
Yeah.
They become richer and more meaningful with every experience.
Ah.
And then you've got the ambulance.
Oh, yeah. The ambulance, totally different vibe,
Completely different.
but just as powerful in its message.
Absolutely. So this one was inspired by a friend's medical expenses. And it's this very playful take on healthcare. A little bit of irony infused in there.
Okay.
But beneath the humor,
Yeah.
there's this underlying current of empathy and support for his friend.
I love that. It's like he's taking something serious, right?
Yeah.
Like healthcare expense is very serious.
Yeah, it's heavy.
And he's making you think about it in this new way, which I think that's like the power of art.
It is.
It sparks conversation, it challenges perspectives.
Absolutely.
And to do that through something as unexpected as a drone.
I know, right? It's amazing.
It's really remarkable.
It's that juxtaposition that makes his work so compelling.
Totally.
Because you don't expect to find this social commentary, these heartfelt tributes embedded in these high-tech machines.
You really don't.
And yet there they are, zipping through the air, defying expectations.
So at this point, people are probably wondering, where can I get my hands on one of these?
And the answer is not so easy.
You can't really.
You can't just go buy one.
No. These are not for sale.
At least not in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
He's been very clear about that in his FAQs.
And that's what makes them so intriguing.
Yeah.
It's like, these drones aren't commodities. They're expressions of friendship, gratitude, shared experiences.
Yeah.
They can't be bought or sold because their value is so deeply personal.
Yeah, it's like trying to put a price tag on a handwritten letter from someone you love.
100%.
It's just not the same.
And I think that's a very deliberate choice on Peter's part.
Oh, for sure.
By keeping them exclusive, it preserves their meaning.
Right.
And it reinforces the idea that they're more about connection than consumption.
It's not about the transaction.
Exactly.
Although he released the STL file online, right?
You did.
For the canopy.
Yeah.
So in a way, he is inviting other people to participate in the creation process.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I find so fascinating about this whole project.
Yeah.
Is that he's walking this line between exclusivity and accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can go download that file. You can 3D print your own canopy. Try your hand at pinking it.
Yeah.
But replicating the shell, that's just one layer.
Yeah, it's like baking a cake from scratch versus using a mix.
Exactly.
You might end up with something that looks kind of similar.
Yeah.
But the magic is in the ingredients.
100%.
The process,
Yeah.
the story you bake into it.
Yeah, you can't replicate the personal touch, the memories, the emotions that Peter pours into each one of these tiny champions.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them so much more than just beautifully crafted drones.
They're a reflection of him. So what does this all mean for someone listening? Why should they care about some guy and his, custom-built drones?
It's a good question because it challenges us to think differently about the things we create and the things we consume.
Okay.
Especially in a world that's increasingly dominated by mass production.
Right.
Peter's work reminds us that even the most technical objects can be infused with heart, with meaning, with personal expression.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. It makes you want to go pick up a paintbrush or, learn a new skill.
Totally.
And breathe life into your own creations.
100%. And it kind of begs the question, what seemingly ordinary object, what passion, what skill could you transform into something extraordinary?
I like that.
With a little creativity and a little craftsmanship. It's really cool to think about.
It is. It's something to ponder next time you're just browsing the aisles of a hobby store or tinkering in your workshop.
Exactly.
Who knows? You might find your own tiny champion waiting to be discovered.
That's awesome. I love it.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.